side of the House that the pertinence of this bill should neither be understated nor diluted, because national symbols are the very soul of our national identity. By bringing the bill to the House, our Prime Minister is sending a strong and a clear message that our national symbols occupy a position of honor and therefore should command universal affection, loyalty, and above all, unconditional respect. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are here debating on national symbols in this very House, which itself is a symbol of the supreme legislative body in Mauritius. On this side of the House, we honor, we value, we respect our institutions. Unfortunately, I do not believe that the same can be said for all members sitting in this House. The paradox, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that despite being mandated to democratically do their job in the House of Parliament under the watchful eye of our national symbol, like beautifully adorned on your chair, Mr. Chair, and our national flag, instead, very often, we have witnessed members on the other side choosing to belittle this temple of democracy, choosing to belittle the symbols adorning this temple of democracy at almost every sitting. They come in here brandishing pancart, they hold press conferences outside this parliament, although sometimes one might say it's a bit of a blessing in disguise, because we do not come here to entertain antics of, how should I put it, political clowns, if I may say. So doing press conferences outside, they are very welcome to take that kind of show outside this House. Coming back to this bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is the sacred duty and the prime responsibility of not only the legislative, the executive, or the judiciary to make sure that our national symbols are being respected. It is also the duty of the whole nation. We are very proud, undoubtedly, of our national symbols, like the arms of Mauritius, as described in the first schedule of the bill. The national flag is of particular importance as well, because it captures what we have grown up with as children. Every citizen in this republic knows that red represents the struggle for freedom and independence, blue represents the Indian Ocean where Mauritius is situated, yellow is a new light of independence, and green represents the agriculture of Mauritius and its vibrant color throughout the year. Coming to our national anthem, Mr. Speaker, sir, we don't necessarily have to delve very deep into the lyrics of the national anthem. The title itself, Motherland, embodies our love for our country, because there is no greater love than the love for our mother, for our motherland. The wordings of our national anthem goes a step further to capture the qualities, the varying qualities of our people, and with the three words always, at every occasion, those three words ring in the loudest, the clearest, and with the strongest impact, and those are in peace, justice, and liberty. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the catalyst that drives our Prime Minister in his relentless fight for the sovereignty over the Chagos Island, a battle which we all acknowledge, we are all aware, is gaining a lot of ground in the world today. In this fight, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is not only the citizens of our republic behind the Prime Minister. In fact, almost unanimously, an entire African country and most countries across the globe are now behind him. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we are debating on this symbolic bill, we're not only referring to Mauritius, we're also referring to all the other islands, including Diego Garcia, Rodrigue, Agalega, Tromelin, Saint-Brandon, and obviously the Chagos Archipelago. This year, our government organized a trip to the Chagos Island without British supervision for the very first time in history. Our Mauritian flag was proudly hoisted for the very first time on 3 points of the Chagos Archipelago, namely the Perros Banos, the Solomon Islands, and Blanheim Reef. This has been a very proud moment, Mr. Speaker, sir. In fact, allow me to quote the Prime Minister, who said, "A very emotional moment and a very historic time for us because we were able to rule in our own territory," end of quote. Mr. Speaker, sir, the provocative action by the British government, the removal of our national symbol, our flag, from the Chagos Islands, and worse, that being carried out a few days prior to our Independence Day, this action, Mr. Speaker, sir, can only be condemned fiercely and forcefully. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, what is even more shocking, more revolting, shameful, in fact, is that instead of acknowledging, instead of appreciating, and here, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm not necessarily asking to show appreciation to the government or to the Prime Minister, who, in fact, is the one behind this historical feat, but in the very least, respecting and appreciating the solemnity of such a momentous occasion. Instead, Mr. Speaker, sir, we got to witness Honourable Paul Béranger, who I notice is not here. Honourable Paul Béranger went on qualifying this trip, and I quote, as a bluff. That is such a huge shame. Pass on the message, thank you. Very unpatriotic to qualify such a historical moment as a bluff. It is bordering, if not completely, displaying colonial-style arrogance like he often does. In fact, I recall the...
Let her talk.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I never said the word. Colonial-style arrogance. I didn't say the word that he's
Why you
insinuating.
Why you interrupt, remember, this is parliamentary
You can go back and listen to it.
Freedom of expression, decorum, temple of democracy, all these things. Allow the honourable member to continue, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to continue. In fact, the House will recall that the Honourable Prime Minister, during his summing up on the Criminal Code Amendment Bill, reminding this House, reminding the entire nation, how the same honourable member of the other side of the House, prior to the vote which was taken by the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2017, when we went to seek an advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, Honourable Béranger had sarcastically said that Mauritius would hardly obtain 10 votes. And that is what the people of this country must know, and that is what history will retain from that honourable member. It is very much related to this bill, Mr. Speaker, sir. We shall neither give up nor give in when it comes to our sovereignty. Looking at the reaction from the other side, I have always been inclined, Mr. Speaker, sir, to believe that this is the unanimous feeling of patriotism in every citizen. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, the recent turmoil, the recent events, in fact, the recent wounds, I should say, being inflicted on our motherland, they beg the question whether patriotism carries the same meaning for certain people. Mr. Speaker, sir, as unfortunate and as damaging as these events have been to the country, what has been most shocking, most alarming, is how many politicians sitting on the other side of the House, most of them not present at the moment, how many of them openly supported these unpatriotic movements, supported these riots, supported the destruction of public institutions.
No, Honourable Boulel. Order. Honourable Boulel, you can raise a point of order. You ask me the permission, I give you the permission, then you talk. If not, it will not be decorum, it will not be temple of democracy, it will not be... Please.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Oh, sorry. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, I thank you. Out of respect, I speak. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
It's not the morning.
No, okay. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Minister has no right to cast aspersion on members of the opposition. Her comments has to be fair, and she has to be diligent in her speech. No, it's what factual? Another Honourable Minister saying it's factual. He's also casting aspersion.
No, but now you're discussing. You're a seasoned parliamentarian.
Yes, but it was
I've seen you here for years and years, and you make the same mistake. I'm here to give you a helping hand.
All right.
You see?
Yeah, I'm glad you're extending the hand of friendship.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right.
So don't make any debate, any
All
discussion.
right.
Honourable member, try to refrain from controversial issues or inferring whatever is being reproached to you. Please continue.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, please. Don't usurp my place. Don't usurp my place, okay?
Yes. The Honourable Minister stated that the opposition was supporting riot. This is what we call imputing improper motive on the opposition, and the Honourable Minister should refrain from casting aspersion on the opposition.
No, Honourable member, maybe you're not. Please. This is parliamentary democracy. So are you arguing with the chair? And I am on my feet? Where do you have that courage? To stand in front of me and to say things like this? Please. No, I am on my feet. You should refrain. You should abstain when I am on my feet. Now let me tell you one thing. This is parliamentary democracy. There have been speeches. There have been attacks. I can understand. The opposition will make no gift, will give no cadeau to the government. And the government will make no cadeau to the opposition. I am here to judge what is outside standing orders. If you have a point of order, you have raised your point of order, but it's not a point of order. Please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to continue with my intervention on this bill. It reminded me of what the Honourable Leader of Opposition said to the Prime Minister during PNQ today. The truth is hurting quite a lot by the look of it. Like Honourable Shakil Mohammed earlier said during his intervention on this bill, that a bill is not sufficient to bring unity. It requires patriotism, it requires commitment, it requires love for our motherland. The path, Mr. Speaker, sir, towards independence has not been an easy one. Everybody in this House, every Mauritian citizen remembers that the path has been riddled with adversity, it has been peppered with obstacles, with vehement opposition. And with your permission, I will jog the memory of this House that in August 1967, Mr. Speaker, sir, when the Legislative Assembly voted in favor of independence, the members of one particular party, in fact, one of the oldest surviving parties in Mauritius, the members of that party left the chamber in protest before the vote. That party was against Mauritius becoming a sovereign nation, Mr. Speaker, sir, and history shall remember that as well. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, this government has taken bold initiatives in favor of our territorial integrity and the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols of Mauritius bill is yet another foursquare initiative to further protect our national symbols, both on the international landscape and the national one. The bill does not target anybody, and as enlightening as it has been to the House to discover Honourable Shakil Mohammed's keenness or expertise in vocal pitches, this bill is here as a safeguard to our sovereignty and our national symbols. I shall end by once again thanking the Honourable Prime Minister, the mover of this bill, for being the architect of a bright future for this nation and for bringing life to those three words: in peace, justice, and liberty. Long live the Republic of Mauritius. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for your attention.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am thankful for the opportunity to participate in this debate. I start by quoting the words of King Solomon out of the Proverbs: "Where there is no vision, the people perish." It is a reminder to all of us in this august assembly that we are called upon not only to lead by example, but to lead with vision, like our Honorable Prime Minister, and have a long-term view of the best interests of our country. The objective of the bill is to consolidate and update the law with regards to the national symbols of Mauritius, such as the arms of Mauritius, the national flag of Mauritius, and the seal of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill will also give legal effect to the national anthem of Mauritius, Motherland, the national flower of Mauritius, and to declare the kestrel bird as the national bird of Mauritius. The bill will provide for a better protection and use of the national symbols of Mauritius and will further strengthen the Mauritian identity both nationally and internationally. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill is even more important in the context of the government's effort to claim sovereignty over Chagos. My address to the House will be threefold, Mr. Speaker, sir, namely the national symbols of Mauritius, the national anthem, the Mauritius Kestrel, and Troketia. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the Mauritian government's first aim after attaining full internal self-government from the British in 1968 was to cultivate a common sense of identity. Our state symbols, which were unveiled in 1968, became an important way to rally Mauritians from different backgrounds and communities to a common purpose. The instilling in Mauritians of different race, creed, and classes the will to be a nation, striving towards creating a Mauritian national through a sense of belonging to our common identity. Although Mauritius only became a republic in 1992, our state symbols, the flag and the anthem, were first unveiled in 1968 when Mauritius obtained independence from Britain. Mr. Speaker, sir, national flags and anthems express symbolically the hope and the ideal of a nation. The symbol by themselves may be meaningless, as suggested by some. We respect not the flag as such, or the state arm, or the anthem, but the sentiments and the ideas they represent. The possession of national flag and anthem is, for a country, symbol of self-respect. Through these, a nation acquires identity and personality of its own. Of course, Mr. Speaker, sir, symbols are a very tricky business. They can mean whatever a person wants them to mean. It is in order to prevent any too free a translation of the symbols that we have taken the precaution of providing, as it is, an authorized translation of the symbol which our flag and state arm carries. Mr. Speaker, sir, the flag, the state arm, and the anthem are symbols of national pride. They are expressive of the spirit of dedication which inspires our people today. To fly the national flag is a sign of pride. For example, during the All-African Championship 2022 badminton competition at Kampala, Uganda, our national athletes, Mr. Mevin and Mrs. Vilina Apia, constituency of number 6, felt proud to see our national flag. It is a positive affirmation of loyalty and commitment to the nation. It marks out a country that has self-confidence. and is comfortable with its place in the world, its history, and its future. The colors of the national flag are of major significance in the post-independent history of our island. Mr. Speaker, sir, the national anthem showcases the national culture of Mauritius and displays a delight and national fervor. In addition to the Mauritian national flag, it functions as a driver to the feeling of national pride for Mauritian citizens worldwide. The Mauritian national anthem's name is Motherland and is also known as National Anthem of Mauritius. The Mauritian national anthem lyrics was written by Jean-Joseph Prosper and it was put to music by Philippe Gentil. The national anthem remains a property of the government of the Republic of Mauritius. The national anthem of Mauritius, like other national signs of Mauritius, embodies the custom, past history, and belief of Mauritius and its people. It helps evoke feeling of pride among the Mauritian individuals and reminds them of their nation's beauty and rich heritage. It is also a powerful tool to unite Mauritians. During the performance of Mauritian national anthem, residents of Mauritius, in spite of their ethnic distinction, rise in unison, and this, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the beauty of our country and should be preserved at all costs. Sportsmen and women from Mauritius also experience a moment of intense pride when they are being awarded a medal at a worldwide sporting event, while the Mauritius national anthem is being played in the background. It gives them a sensation of having actually made their country proud. Students who listen to the national anthem of Mauritius in school learn to appreciate their nation and establish a spirit of unity among them. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mauritius Kestrel is unique to Mauritius and is one of the 9 endemic bird species still left on the island. The species was saved in extremis with an increase from just 4 birds in 1974, including a single breeding female, to a peak of about 600 individuals. The Mauritian Kestrel has been named the national bird of the Republic of Mauritius. On the other hand, the Trochecha was declared the national flower on March 1992, when Mauritius achieved the status of republic, named after the famous French botanist Louis Bouton. It is an endemic to Mauritius and is found in one locality in the wild. It is a magnificent shrub reaching about 2 to 3 meters in height, with reddish-orange flower adapted to dry conditions. It commonly flowers from June to October. Mr. Speaker, sir, once enacted, the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols of Mauritius Bill will further define the parameters within which the use of our national symbols and to provide for matters related thereto. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill comes at a time where there has been a recent surge in the use of national flag on social media in total non-compliance of the law. A simple Google search would show that the national flag with different messages and images imprinted in total disrespect of the identity of our nation. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, will be crucial to ensure that there are no improper use of the arm of Mauritius, national flag, and national anthem in connection with any business, trade, calling, advertising, or any professional or public activity pursuant to the provision of Section 15(1) of the bill. The bill provides for severe penalty for any breach thereof, and this will act as a strong deterrent to any misuse and in turn ensure respect towards the national symbols of the Republic of Mauritius. Let me end by saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this bill is another step in the right direction to depart from the colonial remnant since Mauritius became a republic, and is evidence of the visionary approach of the Honorable Prime Minister. In light of recent events instigated by a few irresponsible politicians for political gain, I call upon the intelligent Mauritian population to use their independent judgment. And let us face the difficult international financial challenges together as one people and as one nation in peace, justice, and liberty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for giving me the floor. Let me first of all thank the Honorable Prime Minister Pravin Kumar Jagannath for bringing this bill to the House. As previously, his father also, late Shaniru Jagannath, brought the National Flag Bill in 2015 for a better protection of the national flag by regulating its use and giving our flag a legislative meaning, which we didn't have in the past. And we amended, and now we are coming with a new bill to better protect our national symbols. The display of the national symbols with inappropriate specification and any behavior which dishonors it will be made an offense under this legislation. Mr. Speaker, sir, while doing some research on our flag and the national symbols, I come across some information which I would like to share to the House. The first flag that was flown in Mauritius was in 1638, and it was the red, white, blue, horizontal tricolor flag of the Dutch East India Company. When the island was colonized by the French and known as Ile-de-France, the standard of the King of France was adopted as the official flag. Then came the French Revolution, and our flag became the French tricolor. When British took control in 1810, our flag was changed to a traditional British blue ensign with a coat of arms at the center right. The coat of arms was a shield quartered with a ship, 3 palm trees, a key, and a white star. This coat of arms was changed in 1906 with the addition of the dodo and a deer holding the shield. And on the historic day of 12 March 1968, at noon, at Champ de Mars, the Union Jack, symbol of the British presence in Mauritius, was brought down and replaced by our 4-color strip flag. Mr. Speaker, sir, this was a unique moment, though I have not experienced it, but when I hear my forefather, my grandparents talking about it, I know the sense of belonging and pride that they had at the time. And Mr. Speaker, sir, during the time that this flag now is representing our country's flag, the accession of Mauritius to the status of republic on the 12th March 1992 completed the process of independence and self-determination. The flag of the Republic of Mauritius is now proudly flown at the seat of the United Nations, Commonwealth Secretariat, and other international and regional institutions to which Mauritius is a member. Mr. Speaker, sir, each of the 4 colors of the flag, namely the red, blue, yellow, and green, has been given a meaning as a legacy to our future generation. And when we talk about the red, it represents the struggle of freedom and independence that has been done by our ancestors. The blue representing the struggle for the Indian Ocean, in the middle of which Mauritius is situated. Yellow representing the light of independence shining over the island. And the green representing the agriculture of Mauritius and its color throughout the 12 months of the year. Mr. Speaker, sir, our national symbols and flag in the life of a nation has got overriding importance and significance in terms of symbolism and patriotism. Why I say symbolism? Because a flag radiates a whole spectrum of ideas, philosophies, and feelings in terms of a rolling point as an epitome of national identity. Its vital importance to trigger a sense of patriotism belonging. Monsieur le Président, la valeur symbolique du drapeau national est indéniable et indiscutable dans l'ère de la démocratie. Le drapeau national a pris encore plus d'ampleur au cours de la Première Guerre mondiale et on a commencé à parler de mourir pour la patrie. Mr. Speaker, sir, today with this legislation, the Prime Minister is protecting our national flags, arm of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols. Mr. Speaker, sir, on this side of the House, we feel very proud that the Mauritius Kestrel Falco punctatus is being declared as a national bird of Mauritius, and like we say, we are giving back the right recognition to our fauna and flora, which is part of our beauty of our island. As it was described by Mark Twain, that Mauritius was created first and heaven was copied, we see the beauty of our island, and this is what we all are proud of when we talk about Mauritius, when we talk about Mauritius elsewhere and everywhere we are. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honourable Prime Minister, Pravin Kumar Jagnat, should be commended for giving the explanatory note as to the motivation and rationale behind this particular amendment. To understand better the motivation of the government, our Prime Minister and all the members of government is that the national flag and the symbols and the national anthem, the national flower, our national bird, has got a great importance and significance in terms of symbolism and patriotism. It has get a sacred aura of its own in terms of solidarity and service. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is a common link between man and land, our motherland, and has got the bonding power of humanism, and that transcends all barriers of blood, relation, and differences. Mr. Speaker, sir, as rightly pointed out by my colleague, Honourable Tilak, now we are going through a worst economic phase that our country has faced since independence, with the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Aujourd'hui, Monsieur le Président, la nation doit garder la mission patriotique qu'elle s'était investie en mars 1968, symbolisée par la couleur jaune de notre quadricolore, which represents the new light of independence. C'est-à-dire, Monsieur le Président, c'est-à-dire de protéger, de défendre les droits, d'éduquer, de soigner et de créer l'environnement soutenable au développement économique du pays. Nous devons être patriotes, Monsieur le Président, dans ce temps difficile, et nous devons s'unir. When you talk about a fist, when you close it together, it also means unity. It doesn't also only mean that it is only for oppression and for fighting. But, Mr. President, I don't know, some members of the opposition, they only see one side of the coin. And when they talk about patriotism, one of the members reminds me of a player of Manchester United. He's like the Harry Maguire of Manchester United, who has been paid, who is the most expensive defender. But when we talk about the result, we know where Manchester United is today. Monsieur le Premier ministre et Monsieur le Président, je voudrais dire que nous, du côté de cette Chambre, nous avons la conviction et nous sommes certains que nous sommes bénis d'avoir Pravin Jagnat comme Premier ministre, de diriger le pays dans un temps qui est le plus difficile que le pays fait face à l'adverse économique, la pandémie et d'autres. Jusqu'à qu'on nous ait élus, on nous a dit que on a contesté les élections, on a fait beaucoup de choses de l'opposition. Ils sont des mauvais perdants, mais nous respectons leurs droits et nous allons diriger le pays ensemble avec notre Premier ministre pour amener le pays à bon port et nous allons sortir de là. Monsieur le Président, je félicite le Premier ministre pour ce projet de loi. Il est temps, comme l'indiquent les objectifs de ce projet de loi, de le protéger, de replanter son utilisation par rapport aux symboles. Comme j'ai dit précédemment, Monsieur le Président, le Mauricien aime et il est fier de son drapeau national, et il est fier des symboles, il est fier d'être Mauricien. Mais ce que nous voyons, il y a des gens qui prêchent le patriotisme, mais ils ne le font pas. Parce qu'ils ont dit que nous avons un pays multiethnique, le tissu social est très fragile, mais quand ils parlent du tissu social, il faut qu'ils le fassent, et je dirais, à ce membre spécifique, s'il a le courage, parce qu'on l'a vu par ses actions, qu'est-ce qu'il a fait? De quitter au numéro 3, venir soit au numéro 8 ou même au numéro 17, de venir comme candidat, montrer qu'il pourra quitter là-bas. Et je dirais, Monsieur le Président aussi, que, comme j'ai dit précédemment, le Mauricien, il est fier d'être Mauricien et fier du drapeau national. Et pour terminer, Monsieur le Président, je dirais, vive notre quadricolore et vive l'île Maurice, que l'île Maurice nous bénisse. Et le bon Dieu nous bénisse. Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I will not perambulate and I will come straight to the bill. I have looked at the national flag, arms of Mauritius, the national anthem, and other national symbols of the Mauritian bill, and I will make some comments. I welcome the umbrella legislation. In fact, on this side of the House, we all welcome this umbrella legislation. And the sense of the patriotism and pride, of course, is not the monopoly of friends sitting on the government bench. We share this pride and this patriotism. And I made it a point to look at previous questions put to former Prime Minister, and I was not surprised when my attention was drawn to Section 76A of the Criminal Code, which in fact empowers Prime Minister with unfettered powers. And Section 15 consolidates Section 76A. In fact, it's unfettered powers which are being conferred on Prime Minister. Honorable Mrs. Kunjusha, I got your name right, stated in her intervention that premium should be put on symbols, and she is right. And I will say that we should never mess or tamper with symbols. I've seen people like a phoenix nosedive in relation to symbol. And I will refer to one particular case, and there were lessons to be drawn from that particular case. I will refer to November or October 1999. The then governor of the Bank of Mauritius acted contrary to Section 29(3) of the Bank of Mauritius Act to issue new bank notes, contrary to form and design of currency notes. And it provoked an uproar and led to the resignation of the governor of the bank and his deputy. Mr. Speaker, there is no better symbol than separation of powers. And the executive or its political arm cannot usurp the rights of the judiciary. When an interim order is given to stay action in relation to the departure of a foreign national, the order has to be complied with, and not manu militari, dump the person in a police car to be taken to the airport for deportation. Mr. Speaker, of course it is relevant. This goes...
Is that a point of order?
Yes, a point of order. What is this issue has to do with the bill that we are debating today? It's totally out of context. He's talking about a case where somebody has been deported, What has this got to do with the bill? Which section of the bill you are talking?
Country
What symbol?
which has to send the right signals and has to be the symbol of democracy,
Okay,
of
no.
national unity.
Okay.
What you
made
went
your
against.
point?
Yeah, all right. All right.
Order, order. You made your point. The Prime Minister made his point. Let me judge. I'll come to that for the time being. You continue.
That's a good symbol, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I will draw attention to areas of concern. And the law, unfortunately, is an ass and needs to be amended constantly. Let me come to the specific provision of this bill, Section 12(1)(b), as Honorable Mohammed has stated. It is controversial and it is shocking. The offense has no certainty, and he was right to point out no sanity, there's no objectivity. Now, it was a legitimate question that was put by Honorable Mohammed in relation to the salutation to the motherland. It means that if you sing a lyric, if the pitch is not appropriate, if the pitch is too high or too low, you may land into trouble. The bill makes provisions for offenses, but should not be oppressive with excessive increase in fines. Mr. Speaker, don't let me say that the application of the law or that the application of the law will hit at the innocent who makes his own flag at home. And Article 13, subsection 2, spares minor subject that he has acted in good faith. Then, like the salutation to the motherland, we need to define the good faith. I agree that counterfeiting of national symbols, for example, the seal of Mauritius, is indeed a serious offense. Mr. Speaker, I would like the Prime Minister to apprise the House whether a national committee has been set up on national symbols to advise government or the President who may designate a national symbol. But well, I concur with what has been stated earlier, that Section 15 remains controversial despite amendment circulated. Mr. Speaker, to contain many of the controversial issues, I'm not saying that we have to copy what India is doing, but India has a code of conduct, and this is an issue that has to be taken by government to ensure that controversial matters are taken on board. We have indeed a legal and moral obligation to protect the intellectual property rights of our sovereign democratic state. And none other than the state of Mauritius has ownership, of course, of copyright on the national anthem. Mr. Speaker, the bill consolidates the relevant provisions of the law, Section 181A of the Criminal Code and the Copyright Act, which means that there should be no departure from the color code of our national flag. And the message was conveyed loud and clear to all users, especially to private sector, and to those enterprises who manufacture the flags, and the bunters. They have to be exhibited on National Day or for any international events and cultural, for any international sports or cultural events. Mr. Speaker, history would recall, and I tend to agree on that particular manner with what was stated by Honorable Kunjusha. History would recall that shortly after independence, the country as an independent sovereign state went through a temporary, painful, and difficult period. It took some time before everybody would stand still for the national anthem or when the national flag was raised. Time is indeed a healing factor it was then and still is. And Sir Sivasagar Ramguram, the father of the nation, was the healer. The title, of course, was not thrust upon him. He deservedly earned it, and everybody rallied as one people, as one nation. We are proud of our citizenship, our belonging to an independent nation. The relevance and importance of a rainbow nation sinks in. Its hands over the heart for the love of motherland. And there's nothing more pleasant to the ears and to the eyes when the national anthem is sung and the flags wave. Mr. Speaker, we have taken our lawful place amongst the community of independent states, and now a destination which is sought after and cited as an example of peaceful coexistence and democracy. It should not be undermined. We display our symbols with pride. Mauritius reap the praises for its national symbols. The symbols give us our identity and cultural moorings. It is imperative that all regional and international organizations are submitted national symbols as they are. Mr. Speaker, very often wrong display has been the subject of annoyance and diplomatic irritants. There's nothing more upsetting when the wrong national anthem is played and the flag is raised upside down, or when it should be vertically, it is made to be, when it should be horizontally, it is made to be vertically. Mr. Speaker, let me come to penalties. The penalties provided are too excessive. True it is that penalties do act as a deterrent. However, the focus should not only be on deterrence, but also on education, so as to educate people on the importance and significance of national symbols of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, I've noticed that since COVID, all legislation passed during COVID have a Machiavellian touch with an increase in fine. And this is oppressing to people by increasing penalties. I appeal to government to stop passing laws against the people of this country with those innumerable penalties. Mr. Speaker, the symbolic meaning of the colors of the national flag, and this has been highlighted by Honorable Danu, under the second schedule of the bill has been set out too limitatively, and it may be a bar to creativity. This is even more important when taking into account that very often the colors are associated with a number of significant historical or current events. Mr. Speaker, Section 11 of the bill provides the circumstances under which the national symbols may be insulted. In fact, in India, there's a specific legislation in relation to insult to the National Anthem Act. Mr. Speaker, provision should have been made for circumstances under which the national flag can be put on half-mast. Mr. Speaker, as I've said, I have not perambulated. I've come to specific clauses of the bill. I have spoken. I hope government will take on board some of the valuable suggestions opposition have made. But at the same time, let me remind government, a symbol carries more power than any other commodity, than any other issue, and than any other currency, than any other matter which is relevant to politics or to democracy. As I've said, I've seen a nation rises and falls on symbols. I've seen individuals nosediving in relation to symbols. That's why I say, don't send the wrong signals. The deportation of a foreign national in relation to an interim order issued by the court was the wrong signal sent by this government.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was very important to bring this piece of legislation before the House. We all agree on this. And we appreciate the wise words of the previous speaker, except for that last comment. But when we talk of a country, when you consider the status of a country, we consider the status of a state, we automatically think of national flags, of seals, anthem, and national symbols. These are attributes of states and statehood. When we consider the status of states, of countries in international law, it is generally accepted that states have three main attributes. First is, of course, a population. Second, a government. And third, a territory. Why I'm talking of the three attributes of a statehood, it is because of the importance of our territory. This is the very basis of a state, is to have a defined territory. And that is generally accepted and also recognized in international law. And it is important once again, because it has been done in the past, but it is important once again to highlight that it is this government which took territorial integrity so importantly that we have taken the dispute we have had over 50 years with the UK to the International Court of Justice, with the result that we all know. And it is this government which is defending the territorial integrity of Mauritius. And when we look at the explanatory memorandum, it is important to highlight this. When we look at the explanatory memorandum of the bill, and we see the name of the mover of the bill, Prime Minister P.K. Jugnut, Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, Home Affairs, and External Communications, Minister for Rodrigues, Outer Islands, and Territorial Integrity. It is important for this House to reflect on this. Territorial integrity. Had this portfolio existed before, ever in the history of our country? Never before. Never before. It is this Prime Minister who took the portfolio of territorial integrity and put it straight, clear, black and white, that he will take the challenge, and he is living up to the challenge. It is with this background that this bill comes, because when we defend our territorial integrity, we defend our country, we need to defend the symbols of our country. If we take the example of the national flower, Trochetia boutoniana, it was declared a national flower, and it is generally accepted by the population way back since March 1992. But has there been legal protection afforded? No. When we look at the national flag, or the arms, the seal, is there sufficient legal protection? Unfortunately not. It is with this, in this context, that this bill is affording now strong legal footing and strong penalties in case of violation of the prohibitions when it comes to our national flag, arms of Mauritius, the anthem, and other national symbols. And it is important, therefore, to remember that this goes along the lines of our nation, our country, and our territorial integrity. It is good that by and large there is consensus, except il y a probablement une seule voix discordante. But the less I talk about that, the better. You know, there is this Chinese proverb, quand le sage pointe vers la lune, l'abruti regarde le doigt. Let us think as a nation. Let us focus in these difficult times. This is the word I want to say to those who want to listen to La Voix Discordante. When we look at clause 12, whatever can be said about it, what we want to prohibit in simple language is deliberate disrespect. Who in this country will tolerate a deliberate disrespect to our national anthem, to our national flag, to our symbols of this country? Who in this country will tolerate that? Of course, we have to provide for strong penalties, and this is what we are doing. Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't want to say more on that. Let me, before concluding, put on record the collaboration with our partners concerning the Mauritius Kestrel project. This bill provides this opportunity to put on record the long-standing collaboration on the Mauritius Kestrel project. Government of Mauritius has had successive governments with our partners, both locally and internationally. And this will explain why we have chosen, why government has chosen the Mauritius Kestrel as the national bird. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mauritius Kestrel, Falco punctatus, is the last remaining bird of prey endemic to Mauritius. It was once the rarest, not one of the rarest, the rarest raptor in the world, with only 4 individuals left in the wild, and that was in 1974. The Mauritius Kestrel was driven to near extinction by deforestation, habitat degradation, introduced mammalian predators, use of pesticides, etc. In the 1980s, government of Mauritius, together with its partners, namely the Mauritian Wildlife Foundation and the Durrell Foundation, took up Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust. I'm sorry, I say it again. The Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust took up the challenge to protect the Mauritius Kestrel. And this is indeed a success story, one of the greatest conservation success stories, not only in Mauritius, but also in the world. So much that in the mid-1990s, the population size of the kestrel had reached 600 birds. In the southwest of Mauritius, around the Black River Gorges National Park, and also in the Bamboo Mountain regions in the east of the island. It is important to note that around 2013, however, a decline in population was noted, a decline down to about 350 to 400 birds. One of the major factors noted in the decline was a low productivity in the wild in the kestrel population of Black River Gorges region. And in order to restore the population of kestrel in that region, the National Parks and Conservation Service of my ministry, in collaboration with the Mauritius Wildlife Foundation, once again, and the international partner, namely Durrell Conservation Trust, Chester Zoo, and the Zoological Society of London developed the Mauritius Kestrel Recovery Project. Mauritius Kestrel Recovery Project aimed at restoring the population in the Black River Gorges and enhance the population in the south by releasing captive reared birds. These captive reared birds are released in the wild from installed nest boxes. The project aims to release between 10 to 15 hen-reared Mauritian kestrel in the Black River Gorges to reinforce the existing population. From December 2021 up to March 2022, birds have been released, Mr. Speaker, sir. The kestrel, Mr. Speaker, sir, is an emblematic bird, known for its independence, its strength, its survivorship, and its resilience. It is a true representation of the Mauritian nation, hence the choice of the Mauritius kestrel as the national bird of Mauritius. We have to thank all those who have helped in the Mauritius Kestrel Recovery Project. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for bringing the bill to the House. There will, in future, we never know, designation of other symbols, and the bill contemplates that there will be designation of national symbol. But it is important to highlight that in view of the importance of designation of a national symbol, this bill provides that it is for the President to designate a national symbol by an order. That's number one. And secondly, there should be a resolution of approval by the House on a designation of a national symbol. It is important for me to highlight that in clause 10, subsection 1. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have done.
Mr. Speaker, sir, first of all, let me thank all the honourable members from both sides of the House who have intervened in the debate on this highly significant bill which I have presented today. I am glad to note that honourable members from both sides of the House have expressed their support for this bill, which aims at consolidating the legislative framework for regulating our national symbols. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill aims, first of all, to bring into limelight our national symbols, which could otherwise go into oblivion. Secondly, it brings cohesion amongst our people who may identify with pride their intrinsic patrimony. I have also taken good note of some of the comments and the observations and contributions made by honourable members. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am sure that members of the House will agree with me that such a piece of legislation was long overdue. Therefore, the bill which is before the House tonight has been drafted with a view to consolidating the laws with regard to national symbols of Mauritius, such as the arms of Mauritius, the national flag of Mauritius, and the seal of Mauritius. It also gives an opportunity to provide a legal framework for the national anthem of Mauritius, the national flower of Mauritius, the Trochetia boutoniana, and, of course, the kestrel bird, Falco punctatus, as the national bird of Mauritius. The bill provides for better protection and the use of national symbols, and also provides penalties for offences committed under this Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am satisfied that honourable members are agreeable that there was a real need to regulate on the use of our national symbols, which represent our unique identity as a nation. Again, I will refer to this government's commitment towards the nation, as it was this government which brought for the first time in the history of Mauritius a law that would protect our national flag. That is the National Flag Act. The National Flag Act, which was debated in this August Assembly in 2015, had so far provided for the protection of the national flag by regulating its use. And honourable members will recall that prior to the enactment of the law, there were several cases of disrespect to our national flag which were reported, and in which cases, in fact, no legal action could be initiated. Mr. Speaker, sir, however, there was no such legal framework to regulate the use of other national symbols of Mauritius, such as the national anthem, the national flower, as well as the kestrel that was declared the national bird on the 12th March 2022. Hence, with a view to consolidating the use of the national symbols of Mauritius, this government has come up with this bill which is in front of the House today. Mr. Speaker, sir, due care has been taken for the preparation of this bill by the Attorney General's office, and same was done, I must say, in consultation with all the ministries and departments concerned, including the Ministry of Arts and Culture, Cultural Heritage, the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, the Mauritius Police Force, the Mauritius Standards Bureau, and Conservatoire National de Musique François Mitterrand. And of course, I would like to seize this opportunity to convey my sincere thanks to all those who have contributed in the preparation of this bill. As I have stated earlier, the Mauritius Police Band has been a key partner in the orchestration of the national anthem, being given that the national anthem was composed by late Mr. Philippe Gentil, former band inspector at the Mauritius Police Force. A copy of the manuscript musical score, duly signed by the composer, has been safely preserved. However, so far there was no official written music together with the lyrics available within the police band. Thus, now the lyrics and melody line have been written within each movable note through the national anthem, showing how to sing the motherland. Mr. Speaker, sir, every Mauritian who forms part of our Nation Arc-en-Ciel should be fully aware of the value and importance which the national symbols represent for our country. The enactment of this bill will ensure perennity of the symbols and command the respect which these symbols deserve from every citizen of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have heard criticism, as usual, I must say, from one member of the opposition as to why this legislation regarding national anthem is coming after half a century following our independence. Honorable Mohammed has questioned the validity of the new subclause 2 under clause 12 with regard to the playing and singing of the national anthem. I would like to remind the honorable member, who is not here today, unfortunately, to listen to my, to reply to his criticism of the judgment of the Supreme Court of India, more specifically in the case of Suivez versus Union of India, wherein the court made the following comment, and I quote, "It is not possible to give an exhaustive list of occasions on which the singing, as distinct from playing, of the anthem can be permitted.
but there is no objection to the singing of the anthem accompanied by mass singing, so long as it is done with due respect as a salutation to the motherland and proper decorum is maintained. End of quote. Mr. Speaker, sir, as stated by Honorable Chakouri, we as a nation need to safeguard the sanctity of our national flag and symbols if we want to inculcate the culture of respect to the nation and a sense of patriotism in our youth. Also, the national flag is the unique representation around which a nation stands united. Moreover, as I have already stated, the legislation will ensure that we have a standard official melody line with lyrics while providing for variations in pitch and arrangements, subject to the official melody line with lyrics being respected. I have taken good note also of the comments made by Honorable Lobin, who has rightly stated the importance that national flags play in cementing national unity and upholding the sovereignty of a nation. I've also noted that most members are agreeable that national symbols should rise above party politics. These positive affirmations are a departure from the negative statements made by Honorable Mohammed as regard the value that national symbols represent to a nation. And let me say one thing, because I don't want to reply to him. He speaks in this assembly as if he's the champion of national unity. I need only one thing, le rafraîchir sa mémoire de ce qu'il avait dit pendant la campagne électorale de 2019 dans sa circonscription. Je prends only one example, what he has been saying, the rubbish he has been saying about Bakrid. That is only what I'm going to say. And I'm sure he will know, and there are other members in this House also who will recall the communal campaign that has been going on by him in the constituency. Kurbani, well, but people, you know, time has proved that what he was saying was just for politics and trying to gain political mileage and gain votes, but making all sorts of allegations. Anyway, on such a bill, I'm not going to speak lengthily on what he has been saying. Mr. Speaker, sir, we as a nation are proud of our national symbols, and this legal framework will remain as a legacy to future generations. Therefore, I would like once again to thank all honourable members who have participated in the debate, and I commend the bill to the House.
Motion seconded. The question is that the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols of Mauritius being number 1 of 2022 be read the second time. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Public Bills Committee stage. Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 3, application of Act. Clause 4, arms of Mauritius. Clause 5, national flag of Mauritius.
The question that clauses 1 to 5 stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 6, national anthem of Mauritius.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move for an amendment to clause 6 as per the amendment circulated.
The question is that clause 6 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is that clause 6 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 7, Seal of Mauritius. Clause 8, National Flower of Mauritius.
Question is that clauses 7 and 8 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 9, National Bird of Mauritius.
Speaker, sir, I move for an amendment at clause 9 as per amendment circulated.
The question is that clause 9 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it. The question is that clause 9 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye and those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Clause 10, Other National Symbol. Clause 11, Insulting National Symbols.
The question is that clauses 10 and 11 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Clause 12, Prohibition from altering arms of Mauritius, national flag, national anthem, and seal of Mauritius.
I move for an amendment to clause 12 as per amendment circulated.
The question is that clause 12 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 13, Prohibition from improper exhibition of arms of Mauritius and national flag. Clause 14, Prohibition from counterfeiting or making use of seal of Mauritius.
The question is that clauses 13 and 14 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Clause 15, Prohibition from improper use of arms of Mauritius, national flag, and national anthem.
For an amendment to clause 15 as per amendment circulated.
Question that clause 15 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it. The question is that clause 15 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Clause 16, Offences and Jurisdiction. Clause 17, Regulations.
The question is that clauses 16 and 17 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 18, Repeal.
I move for an amendment to clause 18 as per amendment circulated.
The question that clause 18 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is that clause 18 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 19, Consequential Amendments.
The question is that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 20, Saving Provision.
Move for an amendment as to clause 20 as per amendment circulated.
The question is that clause 20 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is that clause 20 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Clause 21, Commencement.
The question is that clause 21 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
First Schedule.
The question is that the first schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Second Schedule.
The question is that the second schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Third Schedule.
I move for amendment to the third schedule as per amendment circulated.
The question is that the third schedule be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is the third schedule be as amended be stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Title and Enacting Clause.
The question is the title and enacting clause stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against no. Aye. The ayes have it. The question is that I do report to the House that the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols of Mauritius Bill number 1 of 2022 has passed the committee stage with amendments. Those in favor say aye and those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. Please be seated. Honourable members, I have to report to the House that the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem and other national symbols of Mauritius Bill number 1 of 2022 has passed the committee stage with amendments.
Public Bills, third reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other national symbols of Mauritius Bill number 1 of 2022 be read a third time and passed.
Seconded. The question that the national flag, arms of Mauritius, national anthem, and other symbols of Mauritius Bill number 1 of 2022 be read third time and passed. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Speaker, sir, I move for adjournment of the House to Tuesday, the 10th of May at 11:30 a.m.
The question is that the House be adjourned to Tuesday, 10th May 2022 at 11:30 a.m. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. Adjournment matter.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Pour ma requête de ce soir, que j'adresse au ministre des Transports terrestres, je me fais le porte-parole des habitants de Cassis, et plus particulièrement ceux qui résident le long ou dans les alentours de la route Ménagerie et qui utilisent la ligne de bus entre Résidence Validji et Plaine Verte, en passant par la route côtière de Bain-des-Dames et le Codan. Monsieur le Président, entre l'arrêt de bus se trouvant à proximité de l'église Saint-Sacrement à Cassis et l'arrêt de Bain-des-Dames se trouve un seul arrêt de bus, quelque peu isolé, sur la route Ménagerie aux abords de la centrale de Fort Victoria. Au-delà des horaires relativement irréguliers des bus, les habitants ont surtout prié de faire la demande pour l'aménagement d'un abribus à l'endroit de cet arrêt isolé pour que l'attente de bus se fasse dans les meilleures conditions pour les usagers des transports en commun. Puis-je ainsi demander au ministre de prêter une écoute attentive et active à cette requête. Merci pour les habitants de Cassis.
I will certainly attend to the request of the honourable member, Mr. Speaker, sir. I will, in the coming days, get in touch with the authorities concerned, the NLTA and the TMRC.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request tonight is addressed to Honorable Alanganu, Minister of Land Transport and Light Rail. It concerns the increase in the taxi fares. The village of Post de Flac, which is found in my constituency, has been hit by such an increase. And this is affecting the inhabitants, as some of them have to pay 30 rupees for a trip of barely 2 kilometers. As a caring minister of this caring government, may I request that a few 15-seater NTC buses are put in that village, which can serve the trip Post de Flac to Central Flac at a reasonable price. As he said himself, that the purpose of those 15-seater buses is to serve social routes so as to minimize costs and maximize efficiency. Thank you.
Oh. I'm not a caring speaker.
Mr. Speaker, you are not a caring speaker. I will certainly look into the request of the honourable member, Mr. Speaker, sir. The 16-seaters of the NTC are proving to be very popular. Many of my colleagues, the members of this House, have asked if they can be utilized in their different constituencies. But of course, we have certain constraints, but I have taken good note of the honourable member's request, and I will consult the NTC by tomorrow.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma requête ce soir s'adresse à l'honorable ministre de la Santé et concerne le cas de Jean-François Gowin qui a été blessé par balle lors des incidents à Berkeley vendredi dernier. Il est actuellement en soins intensifs et sa famille est angoissée à l'effet que pour le moment, ils n'ont aucune indication précise si la balle pourra être extraite de sa gorge par les médecins ici à Maurice ou s'il devra se déplacer à l'étranger pour que cela puisse se faire vu la gravité de sa blessure. Mes collègues Rajesh Bhagwan, Karen Foukyun et moi-même faisons un pressant appel au ministre de la Santé afin que Jean-François Gowin puisse recevoir les meilleurs soins possibles et que la meilleure décision soit prise pour faciliter son rétablissement. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, sir, let me reassure the member in the House that this patient, since he's admitted in the hospital, he's been properly taken care of, be it the diagnosis, the test that has been done, the monitoring and the follow-up has been done by a group of doctors, by a multidisciplinary team, and the information, there is a daily exchange of information between the parents of the patients and the doctors. Now, the outcome, we will be guided by the doctors, their advice, and obviously for any intervention that won't be able to be done in Mauritius, we definitely will make provision for this patient. So again, let me reassure the House that this patient is being properly taken care in the hospital.
Melvin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request is addressed to Honorable Hariram, Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development, Bahubali. It concerns the underground bypass tunnel located at Pont-Fair, Phoenix, and it is used by the inhabitants to relay Valentina to Phoenix. It is in a deplorable state, dirty, unsafe, with poor lighting. If you could kindly look into the matter and talk to the authorities under the aegis of your ministry to bring, I don't know, for the infrastructure, if it could be improved, basically, or changing the lights over there. It's unsafe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. If I can thank the honorable member for having given me advance notice. Je suis apporté un peu aux nouvelles. And currently we are doing the underground bypass near Sunak, near Hillcrest, where the new autopont that just been done. And I thank the Honorable Minister of Finance and Prime Minister for giving us the fund. So we'll want to put fund here also, but I hope your leader won't mind. We're spending more money, so we'll definitely look at that. But this is on the program for us to renovate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My adjournment matter is addressed to the Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development, Honorable Hiram. Minister, the inhabitants of Upper Crèvecoeur have been complaining about the lateness in restoring the Upper Crèvecoeur road, causing inconvenience to the inhabitants. And as a caring minister, I am sure you will use your good office to bring a solution to those inhabitants. And I shall be grateful if you could come there for a site visit as well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I again thank the honourable member for having given me advance notice. In fact, yes, we are having, the road is in very bad state. There has been pipe laying going on, and it hasn't been completed yet. We have the funds required to resurface, and once we are pressuring the district council to complete some snags there, and once that's done, the resurfacing will be done quite quickly. It's just a matter of weeks, and I thank the honourable member for giving us all the support in the constituency, together with our colleague Jules Jonga, for the help in having the popular support in that region. Thank you.
MP Navarre-Marie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma requête s'adresse à l'honorable Attorney General et l'honorable ministre du Genre et du bien-être de la famille et concerne un problème de tardy declaration dans le cas spécifique d'une enfant d'une dizaine d'années en foster care confiée à une famille de la cité débarcadère à Pointe-Sable. La famille a accueilli 2 enfants, un frère et sa sœur. Le garçon est déclaré officiellement à l'état civil alors que la fille ne l'est pas. La famille a de grands projets pour les enfants, mais se heurte à des obstacles administratifs, car la fillette n'a pas d'acte de naissance. J'en ai déjà parlé à la ministre et avant elle, à l'officier en charge du dossier à son ministère, plusieurs semaines auparavant. Celui-ci m'avait assuré que le nécessaire allait être fait, mais jusqu'ici, rien n'a été fait. Je fais ici un pressant appel pour que diligence soit faite et que l'enfant soit déclaré à l'état civil et ne rate pas des opportunités à venir. Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I will reply to the honourable member. Yes, indeed, she did draw my attention to this particular case, and I can reassure her and the House that this case is being looked after. As you can appreciate, all the steps in the process of tardy declaration does not necessarily sit entirely at the level of only my ministry. It goes to different ministries, the Attorney General's office and Social Security, even to the Ministry of Health is involved in that. But this is a case that I can reassure the House is being taken care of.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My adjournment matter is addressed to Honorable Manish Gobin, Attorney General and Minister of Agro Industry and Food Security. It concerns small planters as described by Small Farmers Welfare Fund Act, planters cultivating a minimum of 10 pH and a maximum of 25 arpents. As we are aware, there are around 12,000 small planters in Mauritius. I have received, the Deputy Prime Minister and myself have received representation from the small planters of Dubois and Midlands, and there are about 300 planters. And as you know that they are an aging population, most of these small planters have land on lease from the Ministry of Agro Industry and Food Security. As per a policy from the Ministry, the small planters' lease agreement are not being renewed as they are above 60 years. With the COVID pandemic, we need to continue produce locally, and I'm making an appeal to the Minister if he could look into the matter so that not only small planters from Dubois and Midlands, but all small planters around the island, their lease agreement could be renewed so that we can produce locally.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, so I thank the Honourable Member for raising this matter. I also thank the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister also for raising this matter. The matter arose, I remember very clearly, some weeks back during a meeting with stakeholders at Dubois. I wish to reassure the Honourable Member and the House that there is no set policy for automatic cancellation of lease after a certain age. It is on a case-to-case basis. I insist on that. Some lessees beyond a certain age, for obvious reasons, find it difficult to continue toiling the land for health reasons, for a number of reasons. For those who can no longer carry on with the agricultural activities on land leased, we are considering it on a case-to-case basis. Either relinquish the lease if they wish to, or on application, a transfer to the next of kin. This is being considered on a case-to-case basis. I know there have been some persons going around and spreading rumors that the ministry will be cancelling leases as from a certain age. This is certainly not going to happen automatically. Cases will be examined case-to-case basis based on application, either to transfer to next of kin or to continue if they feel capable of continuing. Thank you.
Yes, the issue I'm raising tonight is addressed to the Honourable Minister of Health, and it's in relation to an acute shortage of a particular medicine which is used for heart treatment in our public hospital, which is called clopidogrel, which is used to reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke. Mr. Speaker, not everybody has the means to buy this medicine in private pharmacies, as it is costly. So, therefore, as a caring MP, I'm making an appeal to the Honourable Minister to use his good office so as to make this medicine available as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, as a caring minister, this medication is used for patients suffering from cardiac problems, and the supplier who is supposed to deliver the medication 3 months before, he has made several requests for delay supplies. So the ministry is having recourse to different sources to procure this medication. And now what I've been informed that within 1 week, this medication will be available in all the hospital services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request is addressed to the Honourable Minister of Land Transport and Light Rail. My attention has been drawn to the fact that the bus shelter along Royal Road, Anse-Larrey, is in a deplorable condition. I would kindly request the Honourable Minister to do the needful for it to be restored and reinstated for the security and safety of all those who use the bus shelter. Thank you.
Yes, I have taken good note, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think I did answer to the request made by a honourable member last week or the week before. The bus shelters that we have in the country are under the control of either the TMRSU or sometime under the control of private parties, private promoters. So I will take up the matter with the TMRSU tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, sir, and do the needful if this bus shelter is under the control of the TMRSU.
Honourable Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My request is addressed to a much solicited minister tonight, Minister of Land Transport and Light Rail, Honourable Alanganu. Yet again, bus passengers travelling on Route 9 and 252, that is Mayberg to Kirpip and vice versa, are not being appropriately serviced. I have repeating complaints, Mr. Speaker, sir, from passengers that the timetable for bus operators from Kirpip to Mayberg is not being adhered to, nor adequately serviced from 5:30 a.m. until up to 8 a.m. As a result, passengers have to spend long hours waiting on the bus stop or simply late at work. I would kindly request the Minister to look into the matter for a timely solution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I thank the honourable member for raising this issue, Mr. Speaker, sir. He did give me prior notice. I must say, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, sir, we do have some problems with private owners of private buses, and I will certainly inform the NLTA of the complaint raised by the honourable member.
MP Bélanger.
Merci. Ma requête s'adresse au ministre des Transports terrestres. Les habitants de Granum, Sadali, Loiseau et Mangalcan éprouvent des difficultés pour se rendre dans le centre de Vakwa, surtout en temps de pluie. J'aimerais lui demander de bien vouloir faire le nécessaire afin qu'un arrêt de bus soit rajouté sur Allé-Briand, mais plutôt du côté de Sadali, comme demandé par les habitants. Et si je peux me permettre, j'aimerais lui proposer que la ligne de bus 81 soit rallongée pour aller jusqu'au bout de l'Allé-Briand, au lieu de s'arrêter juste au niveau du club hippique, ou alors qu'on fasse disposition pour des minivans de 16 places de la CNT afin qu'ils puissent rejoindre le centre de Vakwa. Merci.
I thank the honourable member for raising this issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have taken good note of the request she has made, and I will do the needful.
No, nothing?
My request is addressed to the Honourable Minister Hiram in relation to a road on the boundaries where Olje Road is, where Olje Street is. The place is known as Oxford Lane. That road needs to be reinstated, and it has been in a deplorable situation since a long time. So I appeal to the Minister to look into it.
This is on the list of PPS Tanya Jul. She is looking into. She had a site visit there, and she is doing the needful.
Honourable Boda.
As you are giving me the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, sir, may I ask the Honourable Minister of Light Rail, we have a big issue on the Metro Express at Kirpip Road, where the junction has been cut. I think there was a program on the radio, and the Metro Express Director General went there on a site visit. If you could look into the matter to see to it that they have good connection at the level of Kirpip Road. No. No.
So would the Minister, I think, the Minister
Because I have taken good note of the request made by the Honourable member, and I will certainly look into the request.
Thank you. Let's call it a day.